Today I'd like to speak about grounding, what it is and how you do it and why it's important. Grounding is a fundamental tool in your toolbox that you should have as a spiritual warrior or a person that would like to reduce their stress level. Either end of the spectrum that you're on, this grounding can help you in many, many ways, and it's a really basic technique. So it seems almost boring, or you should just want to skip it and get to more advanced techniques, but don't. Because I was one of the people that skipped it, and I ended up having some negative consequences from that. So I'm definitely speaking about this for my first video because of the importance of it and the lack of it in the United States of America, especially my home. So, and in the world in general now, because the real reason behind the lack of grounding, not only the lack of awareness or knowledge of grounding, but the fact that we're bombarded by electromagnetic frequencies, by our phones, by Wi-Fi, by now 5G that's coming. There's a lot of things that are polluting our energetic system, adding toxicity to our auric system, or aura field, and our chakra system. So the way that you ground and why you're doing it. So the reason why you're doing it is if you understand anything about electricity, I'm sure there's some electricians out there that obviously know why you need a ground wire, because if you don't have one, your circuit will blow and it can cause fires and different things, and that's exactly what will happen to us if we don't ground. And of course you can ground into the air, that's one thing, but the best channel to ground is into the earth. So what you want to do is you want to basically take off your shoes, connect to a rock, a giant rock, sit on it, connect to grass, just sit on the grass, anything into the ground that will release your energy, lay on the earth if you must. That's why people go to the beach, not only for the negative ions, but they're releasing all of their charge into the ground where the water is. You go into the water, you can get cleansed as well. That's another thing that you can do. If you feel like you're bombarded with EMF and you need to wipe that off, you can take a shower or a bath, because that actually helps a lot with reducing the EMF toxicity in your energy system. But the best method is to basically deep breathe and slow down, and then connect with a tree, connect with the earth, connect with animals that don't have anxiety, maybe not domestic animals, but some type of animal that you can even just energetically look at and connect to and release, and not just release, but connect your energy into that and ground yourself, because it will balance out the energy. But the best thing, like I said, is the earth. So you want to really just connect into the earth. A lot of articles show that you can ground by having an auric cord come down from your bottom chakra. I find that a bit unnatural or strange, because I've always liked putting my feet on the ground and visualizing roots coming from my feet, and you do have little energy portals there too. So when you step on the ground and you put your roots in there, just visualize them going very, very deep into the ground. And I know that grounding is so important because when I was in my room when I was about 16 doing a lot of these energy cultivation exercises, not really knowing exactly what I was doing, I didn't understand how successful it could be and how powerful it could be. So I was visualizing these roots in the ground, as I'm saying, but at the same time I was visualizing energy pulling up from the earth. I mean, I visualized vividly going all the way down to the magmas layer of the earth and pulling up that energy. But I didn't understand how pulling up so much energy and generating it can cause that energy to go into a room. And that's what happened. It started causing pressure in my room, and the windows started shaking violently, and I was very afraid. And I felt like my door in my room was going to blow off. And so I got on my knees and started praying for it to stop, because I thought it was demonic activity at that point. And the windows just kept shaking until they finally subsided. And I remember asking my mother, which is a medical transcriptionist, and she always has her earplugs in so she can't hear anything on the other side of the house, if she heard anything. In a calm voice, I went over to her and said, "Did you hear anything?" And she said, "Yeah, it sounded like glass was shattering." So at that point, I was very frightened of this power, and I took a break from it. And then later, from my understanding of reading what had happened, I realized that there was maybe issues with grounding, and I wasn't really certain. So I got the luck that a Tai Chi teacher came to my school and was teaching a class, so I joined the class, of course. Went through the class, then I asked her, I told her my story, what had happened. I asked her, what that was, and she just walked real close to me and looked in my eyes like she could look through my soul and was like, "You need to be grounded." And I was like, whoa, because I could just like feel the energy from her telling me this. Like, it was so real. So I looked up everything on grounding possible, and I started really thinking about electricity versus magnetism. Over time, that's what I was really looking at, that balance. And a lot of people, they'll try to meditate by putting their earplugs in with their iPhone there, and now they're listening to some meditation music or some type of something that gets them into that state. But they're also adding physically or electromagnetically this energy into their body that's not healthy, and they're stimulating their self with electricity still. So to go into magnetism or increase magnetism over the electricity to balance it, you need to go into complete silence or away from all technology, cut off from it into nature or into somewhere like the beach, or just away from it in a dark place that has no technology and no electrical stimulation. And your body will crave those type of things when you first put yourself in a situation like that. But after a while, it will feel relieving, and it will feel like you're getting that balance. And you need that balance to find equanimity, which is really the first goal of yoga, traditional yoga, real yoga, not the compartmentalized yoga here in the West that only focuses on hatha yoga or the body poses. But if you look into the prerequisites to get to any type of stability or, an ascension or traveling up the spiritual ladder per se, what you need to do is ground first, and you need to find ways to do that successfully. So without equanimity, there is no stability. There's no continuance. There's no foundation. Equanimity is basically evenness of mind. You could win the lottery tomorrow or lose everything that you have, and you'll still be stable. And it's a real state you get to. It's not something you can pretend. It's something you must cultivate, and you cultivate that through the Sattvic lifestyle, which I will be teaching. But it's mostly, basically grounding, and what I'm teaching right now has to do with that. And the fact that we lack that so much, and it's such a basic thing, and it's out of our awareness, especially with all these things going on in the world, the apocalypse basically. We need to focus and understand how important these basics are, especially in these times, because of, the anxiety and depression is just going to skyrocket, and suicides and that stuff, God forbid it, but that would be the projection, probability-wise. So if we could, focus on this type of thing and get this message out of grounding and the importance of that, make it even a trend, that would be rad. Because if we could do that, that would lead into so many more advancements that we could do in not only the health benefits, the mental health benefits, the emotional health benefits from it. It's just something that you should be practicing daily as like a regimen or a hygiene. If you take a shower and you eat 3 times a day, you might want to think about grounding as well. So the best technique I guess I would show you just simply to do would be to start breathing deeply with your shoes off, flat on the floor, so that you're grounded into the earth, and hopefully not on a second floor story. Try to get to the ground somewhere, onto the earth, closest to the earth as you can get. And then start breathing in deeply through your nose, filling up your stomach or your lungs, but it'll puff out your stomach and allow it to just relax your belly, and forget your six-pack for now that I know you work so hard to get. Just let it go. Breathe in. Allow that to just expand, and then breathe out. Slowly, but just naturally. Don't force anything. Just allow that to breathe in, and keep your feet flat on the floor while you're breathing. And then pretty soon you'll feel your energy just balance and calm and just go into the earth, and all the stuff that you were feeling before and anxieties that you had will just shift and change instantly. It's that simple. And so grounding is overlooked because of its simplicity. Don't overthink it. It's not about thinking. So just let go all of your thoughts. Focus on your breathing. Focus on visualizing your energy flowing through your feet into the earth, not up like I did. And then you can feel the grounding effects. And you do this every day just for a week. And just do that and comment on this video with the effects that you've had. I'd like to see what feedback we can get for the group. So.
Tell me who's in the trap, I wanna know who is you gon' ride when it all come falling? Who's in the trap, I gotta know, is you gon' ride when it all comes falling down?